Hello and welcome back to Creatives Chat. Peter, won't you tell everyone who we have on our show this week?
Oh, Rusty, we have a true power couple coming on Creatives Chat today. They're healers, they're intuitives, they're business owners, and most importantly, they're empowering the people with different earth tools. It's all about medicine, tapping into the powers within with the owners of Cosmic Earth Medicine. We have Aaron and Moe coming on Creatives Chat.
Viewers, get ready to meet a couple of rock stars. Roll the intro.
Streaming from Retro Earth Studio and brought to you by
wearehistorically.com. Conscious Human Apparel.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks that deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
Learn to play jazz piano like a pro, by a pro, with Jazz Piano Pro Essentials at jazzpianopro.com.
Let's meet Aaron and Moe.
All right, Aaron and Moe, thank you guys so much for coming on Creatives Chat. How are you guys doing today?
Y'all doing great, Peter. How you doing?
Good. It's been a minute since the Emerald Spiral, Aaron. How have you guys been on your trip? I know you guys just got back from a little adventure.
Our trip was fantastic. So as part of what we do, we often get to go on road trips, long road trips, and we get to meet a lot of really amazing people. We get to see a lot of really amazing places, and we get to pick up a lot of really incredible and really amazing crystals and minerals, and that's what our trip was about.
I usually spend my days on these trips just saying, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. I mean, it's just like the mantra I say over and over and over again, because it has been so life-altering experience to be led by this mineral kingdom and to be taken on the amazing journeys and adventures that we get taken on. And we always are, carrying crystals with us and giving them as gifts along the way. And the people that we come, just even our coffee stops are always so divinely beautiful. Like we will have a cart connection with the barista every single time, and it'll be a message for both of us. And it's like, but that's how our journeys are, as long as we continue to stay in our hearts along the way. It's just been the coolest experience ever. And even for me, Denver is a crazy busy city, and I don't do cities very well. I used to live and work at Pike Place Market, downtown Seattle for 17 years, but I had no idea that I was really sensitive until I moved away into the woods. And then I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be very calm and and grounded, not like wild. So when I go into cities, it's just wild. But even Denver this time was just such an incredible experience, because I'd never been to Denver, and it's a giant city, and it's very busy, and it's very wild, and it was still a really cool experience for even the sensitive.
Well, I guess that's the aspect of the intentions behind the trip. And I think that's the power of manifestation that I think is so cool with you guys, is getting a chance just to see you guys really just shining that light of the mineral kingdom to others is always something that's really important, because it brings us back to our roots. So how did the mineral kingdom journey unfold for both of you? What did you guys really just dive deep into it?
Well, it started kind of with me, because before I met Aaron, I loved rocks, but I didn't know they had names, and I didn't have any idea, because I was brought up religious, and we had an amethyst geode that we held our soap in. It was just my mom liked these shiny rocks, but they didn't have a spiritual meaning or connection in my growing up. I just had a box of rocks, and I loved them. And I was always at the beach collecting them, and I was a very natural child. So I always had, dirt in my pockets with rocks and all kinds of stuff. And I had a dream when I was about, I think I was about 26. I'm 39 now. So about 11 years ago, I had this dream of this blue rock. And in the dream, this guy is holding it in front of my face, and he's going, study this rock, make sure you get this rock. This is so important. And it was this beautiful blue. It's this right here. It's called aqua aura. And
Whoa.
I didn't know. I had no idea what this rock was. None. Like, no clue what this rock was. And my sister calls in the morning and she goes, what do you want to do today? And I said, I don't know. I got to go look for a rock I saw in a dream. Where do we go? And it was like a Sunday morning, and we lived by Fremont Market, and we knew that there was like rock vendors there. So we thought, okay, because I'm a weirdo, so we always did weird things anyways. But this one was because I could not kick this dream. It was so like weird, and it wasn't like this rock was so in my head. It was a picture of this rock. So we went and we looked at this table. We couldn't see any of this rock because it's a different color than a natural colored rock. And I asked, do you have these? And she says, well, maybe it's aquamarine, but we don't have that. It's too expensive. And I just said, okay, well, we turned around to walk away, and I see somebody I hadn't seen in many years from the Pike Place Market. And he goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm looking for a rock I saw in a dream, because I was brave enough to tell him this.
Yeah.
He pulls this rock out of his freaking pocket. And he says, is this it? And it's the blue rock from the dream. But I had my sister there too to witness this experience and say, what the, why? You know, like, how did you know? And the guy was a rock guy. And he was like, well, they're special and they have names, and it's called Aqua Aura. And you can look it up when you get home because it has meanings and properties. And it's probably calling to you for a reason. And I was like, okay, rock guy, because already my little mind had gone into the ego, like, crazy coincidence. So I get home and I look up Aqua Aura, and the first thing in this particular Google search that I see, it says, will assist with psychic dreaming.
Whoa.
So my people, I couldn't do it was just a coincidence anymore. And my mind just like got so inspired that I started reading Tesla books about minerals and their connections. And it had gotten even deeper. And the thing, it had said it would assist with grief. And I had just lost a couple people in my life, and I was struggling with grief so terribly. So it had also come to assist me in my heart and during this grieving process. So I was inspired, and I started going every week to talk to the crystal guy at the Fremont Market to ask him about different rocks that I was finding and connecting to. And he was so kind, and he's still guiding us to this day, this man Herbert from the Fremont Market. He later on down the road is still guiding us in our rock journey. But it's just the coolest experience ever. And when I met Aaron, of course I couldn't stop talking about rocks.
Yeah, our first date, I can't remember if we talked about this at the Emerald Spiral or not. But at our first date, because we met and then we kind of did like a blind date thing. We met online and we kind of chatted a little bit. And then we did this blind date thing. And we met at this coffee shop, she pulls out this rock that she gives to me. And she tells me the story of how she got the rock. But the rock reminded me of this little piece of obsidian that my father had given me when I was just a kid. I still have this little piece of obsidian. I've had it. And so when she gave it to me, it looked just like this piece. It was actually shungite. But I didn't really know all the different the differences. It just looked.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, snap.
So it sparked something in me. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And my sister, when I got done with that date, she was like, maybe you'd want to like cool it down, not be so weird right off the bat, giving him rocks and stuff. But it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
Because I also had a box of rocks.
She had a box.
I had a box of rocks that I grew up with, collecting little crystals and minerals and stuff. And shortly after that date, I went to my mom's house. I said, Mom, I need to go into the garage. I got to find my box of rocks. And she had kept it down there in the garage. Wow. So, yeah. And then he called me and he's like, I found my box of rocks. I don't think that one black rock was the same one, and then we went through his rocks, and he had some cool rocks in there.
See, that's a solid excuse for the second date. You got to help me identify the rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I would have gone anywhere with him if he called me back.
Yeah.
That's so great. Well, I think that's just the divine synchronicities at play when you do let yourself just kind of live out that pureness as we did in our youth, because that's what we're the most tapped into. So I love how to see it come full circle with both of you. That's even more wild to me. And like, it blows my mind. But I guess keep it going. What you got?
I was going to say, it's not, you're talking about things coming full circle. So just growing up, the people that I knew growing up, I'm not going to say that we were bad people at all. We were great people, but we got into a lot of trouble, I'll say. And I'm going to tell you, I have a whole handful of people that I grew up with that have come full circle and now are on I'm going to just say the spiritual path and they work with the rock kingdom, they work with the crystal kingdom. They're into energy work, and it's just like this crazy coming together of people that I grew up with. We kind of went and did our own separate things for like our 20s, and now in our 30s, we're like all coming back together into this understanding. It's like we're really starting to see our true soul families, souls that we incarnated with and that we're here with, and we can see the reasons that we're in each other's lives. So it's been a pretty cool circle. You're talking about that circle of connection. So
I love it. No, I love it because it takes it to the next level when you think about it in the sense of the kind of spiritual fuel and juice that all those past experiences provide us, and it can propel those people down this path of just like unfoldment. And especially now, like this past like 2 years, there's been so many more healers and light workers getting activated, and I think that's the coolest part to even see. Is like I'm sure you guys have seen like way more of an interest of people being like, oh, like what crystal should I go with? How can it help me? What do I use it for? Like
every day. I mean, even last night I had a woman call and she was struggling with her grandson was having terrible dreams and was asking, and I can ask spirit really quick, what does that little guy need to feel better, and it's just like, oh my gosh, we're living out our missions, we're being called up. And sometimes I'm getting calls even up from my most like, I guess, harder friends now who were always like, you're such a weirdo, you're so weird, Mo. And now they're calling me and they're asking me about that dream or that experience that happened to them. I mean, people in my family that I would have never ever thought would have these kind of awakening moments are having them. And it was a promise that I had been, I was told years ago that this would happen. And I thought, no way. I told him and he was like, no way. And oh my gosh, you're seeing it.
People
everywhere.
are coming online now.
I like that.
This is the time of the great, this is the great awakening. This is the time of the great awakening. And people are popping online, and we're seeing some really amazing creativity and some really amazing connections that we're starting to have with people, like heartfelt, spirit to spirit, heart to heart connections. So
and raw, I like to say raw rememberings, because we are remembering our divinity right now, and the fact that we are gods and goddesses amongst men. And that is so freaking powerful that you can look into another person's eyes, and just in that awareness and that reflection, you can light that other person up. And I know that it's true because I can do it all day long. I can do it with a mask over my face. I can walk into a room and I can light everyone up with just my heart vibration, because it reminds them of who they are. And 100%. I know my power, and then they can remember theirs. And that's all that's needed right now. It's truly the way to break out. It is. Yeah.
And it's all we can do is, the only thing that we're gifted with is our own unique light of the one. And all we can do is just shine it. And that's it. That's the simplicity of life. It's like, figure out who you are, where you come from, and then shine that shit. Like, allow it to
heal up so that we can shine brighter, because we gotta heal up so that we can shine our brightest bright. And that's the only requirement we have here on earth, is just to shine our beautiful light. And it takes a lot of the stress off, doesn't it?
Right? I mean, it's just, you come back to that effortlessness of what it's like to live when we were young, and you realize how much more stress and strain. And I think that's the thing that, even just on like the practical level, the hustle bustle of the city life, of just being so just like constantly bombarded with the noise, with the energies, with the whatever frequencies and vibrations they're pumping through all the tech around here, like it's something that you notice. I always notice it. There's a distinct disconnect once you go off out into nature again. And it's just like, and when you feel that, and then even those random moments, I actually really like these ones because it's even more intense, because when you're driving out in like the back country and you're driving underneath like huge long electrical lines, how you can feel like the staticky stickiness, and then you come back, you're like, ooh, okay, back to the normal. But like, so we just in terms,
shungite out the window during that time. We throw tons of shungite out the windows in the car, because we can feel it. We can like literally, and we unroll the windows and start throwing out shungite.
I love it. Well, even in that sense, in terms of this practical use of, really, if we want to call it, these earth medicines, right? Like, how did you guys really start to apply this for your own journeys of healing and using the different crystals for your own, like, I don't know, protection, different scenarios? Like, because I know in terms of business deals and consultations, I'll go with different crystals. I have my stuff in my pockets. Like,
Yeah, the crystals. How do they? Man, I don't know. How do you start? How do you start?
For me, I feel like I've allowed myself to become their student, and they talk to me, but they do not talk to me in words. So it's been, like as you say, you can go up and you can look up to see what their properties are and take them to your business meetings and so forth, and use them as the tools in that way. But they can also they can guide you in a healing process for yourself, because everything we need is within us, and they will show you that, because they really aren't trying to show you anything external, because that's kind of what what's taken away our divinity, is the fact that we have really allowed ourselves to need so much outside of ourselves. And plant medicine and the crystal medicine and the tensor technology, they all tell us the same thing, that we are the ones that are doing all of it. They're just the assistants. They're just the helpers. They're just the teachers. And they even say, because they don't even like the word teacher, really, I've noticed, I don't even really like that, because we are our teacher, right? They just want to help us remember and help us restore our inner connection, right? Because the plants that are the closest to us are the plants that we need. And the more that I disconnect from the reality outside, the 3D reality, the more I'm going, what do you do? Let me see how I can listen to you, and how I can even just ask the spirit of the plant. I don't even need to ingest it. Just ask the spirit of the plant for assistance. And because that's what the crystal kingdom has personally shown me, is that I don't need to personally ingest anything at this moment, unless, that's the next step, or have acute symptoms or whatever it is. I think plant and mineral medicine really shows you how to be your inner doctor, and to listen to your body and to listen to your temple. I've definitely felt a major restoring of my own system through their teachings. But it's weird, because you can't go at it in that 3D mind where you're going to hear them sit down to you in a chair with a teacher in front of you telling you words. It comes in images, and it comes in that step-by-step thing where they say, I want you now to go and stand in front of that tree. And you just have to trust that that's the step for you to take. And your one part of your brain's going to go, what? Why are you doing that? That's weird. You shouldn't do that. But you have to go with that side of the brain that's the one that's connecting you to source.
I mean, when you're in the woo long enough, like, as I see it as, nowadays, how people perceive spirituality that just still don't have those experiences where they really get it. It's the magical aspects of life that just unfold every moment when you really give yourself up to them, So I think that's just the thing for me, where it's like I've seen and experienced so much wild stuff that it's just like I have come full circle in understanding that I just don't know anything. Like, the more I think I know, the more I recognize I don't know, and I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll have fun with it.
Yeah, and
much better.
It's about expecting those things. Like, when crazy things happen, they're not even crazy anymore. It's like, oh, okay, that just happened.
Redirection.
Yeah, it just happened. It's not even crazy anymore. We just expect miraculous and magical things in our life.
And it's miraculous and magical. Like, when we tell people sometimes these stories, they're like, wow, that was crazy. But in the moment, we forgot to be like, wow, that was crazy, because it's expected now. These magical experiences are so expected for us in our lives, because we keep creating even more magical experiences.
Yeah, I mean, everything's magical. Every moment's magical. And,
it is.
It's that eternal aspect of the one moment we only live, the now. And it's always a magical, beautiful thing.
That has been such a big thing right now for us. It's just staying in the now. Like, someone gave me the Power of Now book. I'm sure you've looked at this book.
Yeah.
People have. Someone gave it to me. I don't even remember who gave it to me. And it sat with my books for years. And for whatever reason, a few weeks back, I decided to finally pick it up and start reading it. And man,
yes,
it's a powerful book. It is a truly powerful book, and it puts into words all these feelings and ideas that I had. It put them into words in a way that I could actually think about it and understand the actual power that we have as creators and as manifestors in the present moment. that we are the center of everyone is their own center of their universe.
Mm-hmm.
And we create our own universe. There's billions of people on this planet, and we are all creators, and we're all manifestors, and we are all at the center of our own universe. And it just knowing that is powerful.
Oh, it is the most powerful.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful, because that gives you so much, gives you so much. It gives you so much creative juices to work with.
Right. And I think that's the next step of what we can really do with the tools that are really just like the ancient knowledge that's coming back to the forefront, and combine that. Now, see, what I would love to do is combine the different tools with something kind of like a football or like a soccer stadium, right? And have everyone in the seats and everyone in the field set up and just meditating. And just like that one intention of just like love of, you know what I mean? Like that really just like profound aspect, just like some spiritual festival we turn into this huge meditative global prayer, and just see what happens when we transform that energy into like love and light and project that out.
You have already created the space for this to happen.
Yes,
Spirit has shown me right now that it is.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I can see it. I recently was shown things like this. I had a really amazing experience a few weeks back, and they showed me a bunch of these amazing events that could take place. Because we are creators, we get to have our choice on whatever this next thing. And that is one of the major movements on Earth that I did get to peer into. So you are on the path of that one.
Mass meditations.
Because wherever two or more meet, we are pillars of light. I mean, that is what they keep showing me. And when those pillars get close to each other, it is seen through all dimensions, time, and space. Just
when Mo and I both come together with a single purpose, when we come together, the power is just like it multiplies. It multiplies. So I can even, just when you were talking, I was envisioning a stadium full of people with the singular intention and the power that would have.
It was giving me chills throughout my whole body, because that is the vibration that the collective has. That's why the ink wants to control it in another way, because they know how powerful we are in whatever vibration that we're in, right? But we can put ourselves in whatever vibration. I love to study the Emerald Tablets and Thoth, and he was always saying 100%. How raise your perception to see above it all, because then you just watch it as it is, and it's you don't have to judge it even, and it is what it is.
It's a responsibility that people don't take responsibility for their own thoughts and their own manifestations. And we can turn on the television program and we can watch. They'll tell you what to be afraid of, and people know. If they tell you enough people what to be afraid of, they're going to bring that right into their reality. And we are the manifestors. We are we're the God.
Exactly.
So we need to be responsible about what we put into our mind and what we speak out of our mouth, because what we speak comes to us.
And I've been lately our language has had so many curses on it that I've even been very, very careful, because when I communicate with these beings, like the elemental beings or the woodland people, or even the star beings, there is this telepathic communication. There's no kind of way to mislead, or our whole English language. I mean, understanding all these things. We're not under anything. We should be
overstanding. Understanding.
Like, there's so many things where we use cursive. I mean, it says it in the name. I mean, lunatics and the moon. I mean, there's so many things. So as we shift out of these old systems and these old vibrations, we're going to even change how we speak to each other, how we use our language.
It's powerful.
It is incredibly powerful. So when we sit together in a stadium, because that's what's going to happen, we're going to turn these stadiums from the old ridiculous Roman
Colosseums,
Roman games, and we're going to turn them into major manifesting Colosseums, where we'll change our reality in 1 hour. They say that vibration, one moment,
right? Just 1 moment.
Wow, and that,
facts, though.
it's just that powerful. And that's what they are so terrified of, is the realization of our power.
When the people start taking back responsibility of their own thoughts, then the world will change.
It's the fact that like we're gods and goddesses of creation and manifestation, and it comes down to our perception first and foremost. And I've always been waiting for just that moment of the tipping point where there's enough people kind of tapped in and awakened that we kind of forcibly break through that veil, and everyone else that's just kind of just waiting on the sidelines, just kind of just like, oh, what's all this, you know? Because I feel like there's been more and more healers getting called for their work, and I think that's the most fascinating thing. So even in, we want to circle back to it, but even in your own journey, Aaron, like how has the different spiritual tools kind of like uplifted you? Like, even if it's not crystals, like what have you found that's kind of been like a great assister in your inner journey?
So big time is Tensor technology. So it has been such a powerful part of our stories these last few years. Is this Tensor technology is twisted coils of copper cut to very specific measurements and made into a ring. So simple a design, but so powerful.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
That is this is a tensor ring. This is called a sacred cubit tensor ring. A man named Slim Sperling rediscovered this, I should say, in the 90s. And he was doing a lot of incredible things for the environment and for people and for animals, for everything. And it puts a field of energy right in the middle. It pushes out a field of energy from the middle. It's a torus-shaped field that's forever going. It's pulling energy. It's like Oregon energy. It pulls it right out of the ether. And this can transmute darkness into light. It can help with enhance your manifestation powers, helps clarity of mind. It can relieve pains and emotional blocks in the body. And they can activate your DNA also and help bring out some of that dormant DNA that we haven't been working with for a while because we've been too involved trying to make money. So, it helps to bring all that stuff up and activate. So
I rock mine around my ankles. So
there you go.
I mean, ever since the day this stuff has come into our life, the people that it has brought, every level. I mean, and I didn't even know that it was rediscovered tech from Egypt until, a little bit later on in my, because at first I was kind of like, copper, just copper. Because I'm a researcher. I have to come up with it myself. So when he started even doing it, it wasn't until like we were seeing this stuff. I mean, the healing that went on between Aaron and I, accelerated growth tools is what we call them. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it'll bring up stuff that you don't want to deal with, or stuff maybe that you haven't thought about for a while. It'll bring up these old emotions to the surface so that we can feel them. And we can accept them and we can let them go. Because
we can't be at our fullest anything without that. Do the work is something that my team tells. Anytime I do a reading for anybody or anything, it's always do the work. Do the work is going to be the prime directive. And that means your inner work, right? This Tensor technology, they do not let you get away without doing that inner work. It's going to come up very quickly. A lot of people that have gotten the tools have actually said I had to put it away for a minute because it was, like they tested for fire, and fire is one of the rings that's really, obviously its name. It's fire energy, so it brings up stuff to burn it away really quick. It's a hot energy. It can cause like some stuff in people. And so we've had people say, oh my gosh, or I take it when I'm going to do a work interview because it's very, it makes me have lots of power.
It gives you energized, gets you amped.
Yeah, so those tools have been really beneficial for us. They've done a lot of really great things in our lives. And when you put the minerals inside, like copper is a mineral, obviously, but you can put crystals inside of the tensor rings and it's going to help to amplify whatever you put in it. So you put a clear quartz inside of a tensor ring, the ring that you have on your wrist or your ankle or wherever you're wearing it.
Yeah.
But whatever you put inside it, you're putting it through a tensor field. There's actual measurable energy that you're putting that through, and it is amplifying whatever you put in there. And because of the technology, it's not going to work with any negative. It's not going to help to amplify any kind of negative thinking or negative words spoken. It just works with positive and good intentions.
That's the other really amazing thing about this technology. It's absolutely, I mean, crystals can be used and corrupted in some way. That's why you always say to clean them. The Tensor technology absolutely cannot be corrupted or used in any other thing than in the positive sense. Was another amazing thing about the technology. And we keep learning more and more every day. I mean, they keep releasing new measurements to us that are continuing the assistance. We just received 3 new measurements over the last year that are incredible new kind of frequencies, which makes sense because we're heading into new Earth. And so we're needing some new frequencies. They seem to be more what would you think, like global measurements, or like, what do you think these new measurements
They're here to assist humanity right now.
Really,
I would say
really
they're
hard.
here to assist us and help set us in the right direction, in a direction of bringing into our reality, into our existence, our vision. Not letting other people manifest for us, but for us actually bringing in what we want, what our vision is for the future. But I think a lot of us have the same general idea of what kind of future we want to live in. I know of mine, like, James Cameron's Avatar, that would be a wonderful future. That would be a wonderful world to live in. So everyone is connected to everything. Not only is it just ethically connected, but you can take your little antenna out and actually connect it with everything. We have that oneness. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. And that's what I think is kind of unfolding the more you guys are talking about, these, those random moments of life where it's just these beautiful experiences of people connecting on these deeper levels. I've found that there's this more amplified and almost like visceral, it's like the physicality of like these heart bridges that are opening up between people are getting so strong to the point where it's just like I remember I had a friend recently like put their hand on my chest and be like, I was like, what's up? It was just like, I just feel the connection. I was just like, I was feeling it too though, and that's the stuff that's always fascinating is, the more the time has just kind of unfolded these past few months, I feel like different powers have started to open up. And with the Tensor Tech, I wear mine on my ankles because I feel extra grounded while I'm even in the city. And like I can feel, and like I'll do even in my Qigong practice, like I can feel the difference when I have them on and off. And it's almost like this extra, just like, I almost want to think about it's like some old school like Star Trek, like like different like cartoon like moon boots, where it's like it'll suction you to like whatever you're really trying to focus on. So like when I do grounding practice with like the different tuning forks, and I'm out with the tree, and it's like just the things that are opening up and just that connection with nature again. And like it's been wild to see how fast things are getting accelerated. And I'm just really curious to see your guys' journey and like this past adventure of the crystals. Like, are people just like ready? Like, do you feel it?
Oh yeah, no, we are absolutely getting our superpowers. I mean, you are right on the money. I was told like, I want to say 4 months ago that the superpowers were coming online. It would start kind of in Capricorn and move through, which I thought, oh, Capricorns, they get their powers before us, but it truly is like, these powers are coming online. Like if you see the younger generations now, they already know what they're here to do. I mean, these kids are being born with their powers activated. They know what's up. They've got their clairs. They're really, really activating. And we are too. I mean, I'm watching people, I've seen people, they're starting to use that, the Qigong energy to move, to use telekinesis, to move things with their minds. I mean, this stuff is happening. It's been ancient. These old masters were using them for a long time, but now people are realizing that, oh my gosh, our hands have power, our hearts have power. What? We can use this power? Are you kidding me? And the only time that gets shut off is when this tells us we can't. So we have something going on between our heads and our hearts. And once we figure out that this is the real thing to start working for, and the best way we can do it is when we quiet our mind, it's even more. I love this quote from a long time ago. It was like, to the mind that is still, a whole world surrenders, or something like of that way.
Yeah.
It is so powerful when we we can sit in ourselves, and we can sit in that center of creation, because it's right here. And we have, and then to have all these tools as helpers is just incredible. And the fact that you put them on your ankles is really cool too, because that copper connection to the earth.
Facts. Well, I think it's just one of the things that's been really cool just to experience, my own personal journey, the random happenings of just like different things, like, the pendulums getting experienced, like different intuitive, divination practices, like I see a lot more people getting into tarot and astrology, and there definitely is this awakening of people coming into this sense of really remembrance. I like that raw remembrance aspect. And want to highlight that because the sense of, you bring it back to the Egyptian understanding of the tensor tech. Do you guys, like, where did they use it from? Like, how did Slim Sperling find it? Like, how did you guys get into that stuff? I'm so curious about that.
If you read about Slim Sperling has some books written about him. And he was an inventor, and he would just invent all these different things, and he experimented with copper, like really simple things that he was experimenting with, and he would make these it would really just be like a ring of copper. And it wasn't until he actually took the copper and twisted it into a clockwise twist that he started seeing that it would cancel out all this static interference. And you'll see this, and you'll see when they run phone line, they call it twisted pair, and they actually just twist the wire, 2-pair of wire. They twist it as it goes along because it cancels out interference. So what it does is it calms all this static that we have around, especially if you live in a heavily populated area. Like you'll notice if you're in the city compared to when you're out in nature, I'll say, when you're in the city, even like you're in a big apartment building, you're surrounded by hundreds of people, but you'll feel closed down, you'll feel tight, you'll feel insecure, you'll feel maybe defensive.
Irritable.
Yeah. So you have, from all the static interferences, all this stuff around us actually makes us constrict, and get tight and shrink ourselves and shrink our energy down. When you go outside in nature, what do? You take a deep breath. You take a deep breath.
The relaxation.
Go out into everything. And your body, your energy is free. So the tensor tech, it helps to relieve that static, that interference that makes you bind up. It helps you to just be. Because
there's nothing, I mean, everybody talks about protection and armor and all that can be really hard on your system because you're in a place of kind of fear when you do that. Not cool.
Fight or flight for the whole time.
That's what we don't want, because we are gods and goddesses. We need to be able to connect. We can't be like this all the time, walking around, blocking ourselves from experience. And what we've seen this tensor tech be able to do for especially me, the sensitive one, is I can go out into the world and I don't have to put on all this armor every day. I don't have to put on all this extra stuff to still be bright and still be me and still stand in my light and my love, and to have like a field around me that protects me from the EMS. And when we do muscle testing, people can actually see it in there. They're like, holy crap, that when they hold the ring and they get, standard muscle testing, they are strong with the ring, and it's mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing to me. I wanted to try to break, I was trying always to go against the test, but I couldn't go against the test no matter what. And that really sparked my interest more into this amazing technology. And then of course, finding out that it was this rediscovered tech, and even in the Law of One, they talk about these certain technologies that would be rediscovered in this time. Everything in those texts are coming forward, and it just feels so incredible to be a part of it.
That is something that's extra special.
Yeah.
No. I lost my train.
Well, because I was going to say, I remember the So I did the strength test, and I remember Aaron, like for the listeners, Aaron's a big dude, so it's just like, like putting the weight onto it, and you can actually feel the physical difference. Of just like, ooh, that almost got me on the ground, like, and then that next one was just like that didn't really move it. Then sturdy, like standing, like still as a tree, you could say. It was one of those things where it just kind of blew my mind, where it comes back to the simplicity of life reveals the magic of it, where it's just like some copper coiled up is literally just going with the natural frequencies and energies to amplify your beingness. And then even with the pendulum, I did some testing to see what side should I wear them on, and just to see the way they spin. So I was like, okay, well, that will help me with this energy, that'll help me with that one. And then to see it in like the practical application of it, where you can feel the difference. I notice the difference in sleep if I have them on and I don't. I noticed the difference, in the practices and exercise. And it's wild to see the actual aspect of it in exercise. Yeah. That was one thing I was going to ask you about, because it's just like, have you noticed the boost that you get? It's like an endurance boost. It's a strength boost.
Oh my God. So first, I got a big one here. This is not the same big one, but I have a really thick, heavy gauge tensor ring that I got from my brother in Australia. And he said it'll make me stronger. And I was like, oh, okay. Man, because I used to play basketball a lot. I'm telling you, I was stronger, I was faster, and my endurance was better when I wore this ring. Unfortunately, for the people I played with, I would bang against their hands and arms, and I was hurting people. I eventually had to take it off because it was just too heavy. And this is the cool, we're talking about simple things. This is the simple thing about the Tensor technology, is that you actually don't need the technology there. Yeah. So you can do all this stuff. Anything that these tensor rings can do for you, you can actually do for yourself. Once you know the frequency, you can call in that frequency. And you can have this activation and this healing and this strength. You can have it on your own with your own intention. What the tools do for you is they hold that intention for you, so you don't have to consciously always
it's like
be
a
there.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah, exactly. You set it and forget it. Otherwise, like, you can be out doing lifting at the gym or something, or exercising, and you can bring in that same frequency even without the tool. Because you already know what the tools feel like.
It's true.
You can bring it in.
I can attest to that fully, because I didn't know. I like to wear the bejangles. I like to wear the bejangles. I love the bejangles. I make a talisman every day and wear it. Like, I've always been like this. And this a few years back, I had to go down to Seattle to go to like a birthday party at a really crazy bar. And I don't go to bars. I don't like that kind of energy. But this was a sister. I had to go. And I'm driving down and I realize I don't have my neck torque. And the neck torque is my like set it and forget it for me, because it protects my neck, and I'm very the beings love me because I can see them. So they are always coming for me because I can see everybody's stuff. And I like to be shut off sometimes, so I don't have to deal with the scene. And I didn't have it on, but I was halfway to Seattle, and I was like, Aaron told me I could call in the energy, but do I believe that? And I said, well, fuck it, I can't try, I can't turn around now, like I have to go down, I almost did though. I almost turned around. That's how serious I was, like shaking about going to this experience. Wow. And I said, okay, I just have to. Neck torque, activate. I just said it, like, activate. I had the best time. I was like I felt strong, I felt active, I had a great time. I was in a place where there was drinking. I didn't have any like ickies come at me. It was just a lovely experience, because I knew what that frequency felt like, and it was there for me in a second. Yeah. And now I know that it works, and it's so incredible because I know it happened for me. I can attest to it. It's so cool.
That's the magic of it, though. And I think that's the thing that's unfolding more and more. And I guess you could say rapidly, pacing is this aspect of the power of intention and the abilities of people to tap back into their manifestation. It truly is a fascinating thing just to see play out. Because I know, again, we can all attest to it in that sense of just like, the more you kind of use these tools, the more you tap into your natural abilities. So like, especially even with like dowsing. So it's like my pendulum, like, I don't need the pendulum to receive it. And that's one of those things that, like, I've been talking with some friends that we've been doing some pendulum work together, and we've been like, have you noticed lately? It's just like, you just intuit, and then it's just, and then you just roll with it. It's like, all right, cool. So that's the thing where I kind of want to dive into you guys with, is this power of manifestation, like even just making cosmic earth medicine, your guys' thing, like how did it start? Who got the wave going? When did it really start to like grow?
We
Like,
needed each other.
We
We
definitely
needed each
needed
other. We
each
were
other.
each other's keys.
So I worked downtown Seattle. I worked in a high-rise building downtown Seattle. I worked on high-rise. I was like, the best way to explain it is I was my high-rise mechanic. I maintained all the mechanical systems in high-rise buildings.
He had a badge and everything. He
He's not going Windows card access.
he had an access card. He was downtown Seattle guy.
Yeah, I was access card guy.
Yeah.
Mo was at the Pike Place Market, but she did these. She would do flea markets.
I was a crafter. I worked at a leather stand and we custom fit belts while people waited, and then I would just take my day to make stuff on the side, and then I would do I played it small. I'd do punk rock flea market and little flea markets.
Yeah, so she would do flea markets. So I helped her move or set up, or like I think we loaded all your stuff in one of my cars and we took it down and we set it up. And I watched you work and I was like, man, she's having a lot of fun doing this.
But I was scared to like do it. Like I wasn't. Yeah, I'm slow going.
I saw the potential to make a living from right off the bat. I saw how she worked with people and talked with people. She was able to make a living and had a good time. And best of all, she didn't work for anyone. She was her own boss, and there was such a freedom and inviting freedom that I saw in that I wanted. So she did that a few times. We kind of worked with, we had some crystals and stuff. I was getting back into the crystals pretty big time for me. I was really liking them and I wanted a way to wear them. So I watched a couple YouTube videos on how to do wire wrapping. And
his daughter and I were horrible to him. I would have him know. We made fun of him because we were calling it hippie bling. We were just being like two girls would when they're, when the guy is making jewelries.
Yeah.
They were so dope though. They were so dope that we couldn't.
They were a little bit rough. I have to admit. I thought you know how everyone thinks their baby's cute. Well, I thought my babies were cute.
And he was wearing these giant.
I thought my baby was cute. As I was making them, so they kind of they teased me about it a little bit. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this little table and I'm gonna set up on the side of one of her booths when she does her flea market. And that was the first time that I sat down to sell crystals.
It was, yeah. But what was so cool is, so I'm Aquarius, he's Capricorn, he's about work, I'm about being very cautious and safe, and taking it slow. And so what he did was so incredible because he's about work and getting it done and doing what you say and walking your talk and putting it into application. And I'm really good at talking to people and facilitating. And so he was just like the light that needed to be lit under my booty because
it wasn't long. It wasn't long after I set up that booth outside of your
Kaji. And then Kaji came into the picture at some point.
Yeah, for the Tensor ring. Yeah. But as far as like making our transition from regular everyday life to a life that's really been beyond our wildest dreams. It happens so fast. It
happens so fast. We were at we do this Sasquatch thing, or used to do this Sasquatch thing every year. And we were there in, I want to say, August, and a really wonderful friend of ours is a Navajo shaman, and he said, we were living in Seattle, and he says, you guys are going to be living up near Canada by the end of the year. And we looked at him like, I lived in my own apartment, he lived in his own apartment. We weren't planning on living together anytime soon. We were living in Anacortes by October. From August to October, he quit his job in downtown Seattle. I quit my job of 17 years. I wasn't planning on ever living with a man with a child. All this stuff happened so quickly. He put in a resignation letter that was amazing to his business. That was like, I'm quitting.
I don't even remember how it went. It was pretty much, I'm quitting my job to go sell crystals in the woods.
And he did that to the whole company. It was like the whole company. Everybody thought we were crazy. Even if they didn't say it, we could feel it, because it was like, you have a career. I mean, I didn't have I was just barely, living, because that was how I liked it. And he was like career guy.
So we took we used her creativity and her like enthusiasm for just being free. And we used what do I have?
Just
like
determination and focus. I mean,
and we were just like, we're going to do this. We are going to get out of the rat race, and we're just going to just take a chance and take a leap.
We jumped. We freaking jumped. And we didn't know what. And
in my mind, I'm like, there's no way we're going to fail. All we do is win. There's no way we're not going to be successful at that. And even the first year, we didn't make any money. Oh my God, we were just suffering. I was just like,
because we couldn't stop fighting either, because I thought I knew everything, and he because we still have to do our healing.
That's something
through
that we had to deal with. Because Mo has been doing these sales a long time. And here I come, Mr. I think I know how to do everything my way, and then it was just too much clash. So we were fighting a lot. We really weren't being sustainable. I happened to have some savings that we lived on for a while. That dwindled down to it's gone actually. Nothing. But we just kept at it, and then finally it just started working out for us. Because we focused. We just kept focused. We just kept doing it.
Well, he held the manifestation so hard that I absolutely could not have any other. I mean, he lives a life. He does not get sick. He's always successful. I mean, and I watch it. I've seen the entire time we've been together that this has been the truth. And that has been the greatest inspiration in my life and in my manifestations, because I'm like, if I'm rolling with him, I have no, but actually we're together, but it helped me in ways that I can't even believe. Because I would have been too scared to do so much. I think he gave me it always works out. It always works out. Has it never not worked out?
And to kind of circle it back to this manifestation that you're asking, like this life of manifestation. For me, honestly, it was mental science. And there's a couple of authors, Fox, what's the guy? Emmett Fox. Which I don't want to, there's kind of a lot of Bible stuff in there that can kind of scare people away, but don't let that scare you away. There's some powerful information in Sermon on the Mount by Emmett Fox. Powerful information. There's a man named Thomas Trower that wrote, or actually did lectures, one called the Edinburgh Lecture, and it talks about in scientific detail, how to manifest, how to use your subjective and your objective minds to bring whatever you want into your life. And once you try it out and you see that you can actually bring whatever you want into your life, then you know you can do it. Because it's hard to manifest being wealthy and rich when your bank account says $1.50 in it. It is hard to do that, but you just keep doing it. You just keep having this life and this feeling of abundance and of wealth, even when you're
that's it right there.
You have that feeling, and even when you're getting overdraft fees, you just got to keep that feeling. You just got to keep it.
It's like the manifestation of that house. Aaron and I didn't realize how powerful manifestors we were, because 2 weeks before we saw this house in Anacortes in the woods, we went to Discovery Park, one of our favorite places, because we decided we wanted to be together. And we thought once his child was out of high school, we would do that. We would go and live in Anacortes where we liked it, and yada, yada. But we went and we did this manifestation of the house that we wanted and the place that we wanted. But we didn't write down in 4 years. So guess what happened? In 2 weeks, that house showed up, and it was exactly what we had wrote in that manifestation, to the part.
We had details that we had written down about what we wanted
that were
there.
That were absolutely there, like
the smell of cedar trees.
Like when you open the
smell of the
door,
cedar trees.
Like the smell of cedar. I mean, it was a cedar house made from the cedar trees that were covering the entire place. I had put in my manifestation, like it was a little too much to ask not to have neighbors. I put at the bottom, maybe no neighbors, and then I put, and the landlord would just love us. And it was to this point where we went to go see this house. We weren't planning to rent it. We just went up to be looky-loos because we loved the area. And Aaron was like, hey, we're up there this week. Do you want to just go look? And we had to tell this landlord lady that we weren't really serious. She says, well, I really want you to live here. So you have until 3 o'clock today to make your minds up. So it was like, we got pushed into it so hard and so fast because we had just opened ourselves up, but we hadn't put like a time date on it. So the universe gave it to us right away. And you know how you said earlier about being simple and easy? I had received a message a while back ago, and they said, it's not easy, but it's simple. And they just kept saying it over and over and over again. And I keep thinking about that. It's not easy, but it's simple. And that's what manifestation is. Because I don't think like the magician thinks about all the magic that he's creating. It's just being created. It's just that, like, you know, like we walk and like we ride a bike. That's what manifestation is. We are creating our reality by each step. I know that I pulled this man and this experience into my life. I got it down to the T. I read it to him, the manifestation, and he is that exact, down to the words, everything that I had put. And so you have to be really careful too, because you don't want to be like crying into your tear-soaked pillow, because the universe might hear your soulmate as cellmate. So you want to be really careful on the exact wording that you use in your manifestations too, you know, because look at how fast we got this place in the woods.
Right.
You know, we wanted 4 years, but we didn't write it down.
Well,
you know, and did we really want the 4 years? That was our egos that thought that was the step.
Ooh. See, and that, I think the most fascinating thing about everything right now is just when you really give yourself up to those inner aspirations of the heart, life presents it to you just like whenever you really want. And for you guys in this journey, like, how is each kind of like, because what are they? Are they called crystal shows, mineral shows, rock shows?
Shows.
And we do tons of different kinds. We do psychic fairs, crystal and rock mineral shows.
Yeah, you guys cover the full spectrum of like the esoteric.
Farmers markets.
We do lots of farmers
county fairs sometimes. We go anywhere where we're pulled to that we're going to meet the people. The right people are attracted to us.
So, right there, that's the question right here is you have this aspect of manifestation, networking, just kind of like the business growing. Like, how did this aspect of just manifesting the connections come up in these different shows and just finding those people that are like, these are my peoples.
Oh, exactly. We just started doing different things. Like I was just, you know, the term like just throwing something at the wall to see what sticks. Because I was just trying to.
He had us doing everything. We even did like we did a country fair, and that was like that to me. I ended up leaving because we were set up, you know, next to the pigs, in front of the stage, next to the Trump, you know, it was just a very intense experience for crystal sellers. You know, it wasn't the crowd.
It wasn't ideal.
It wasn't ideal. But there was some people that needed us, and it was perfect.
There's people there that we needed to talk to, that were there, that we needed, and that they needed us. And you kind of just got to put yourself out there. You got to put yourself out there. You have to be able to just put yourself in a place that you are available for other people, whether it's at a county fair or whether it's at like a more safe, like a psychic fair. Because for us, a psychic fair is safe because we're around people that are mostly like-minded people that are into crystals. They're into energy tools. They know about energy.
Yeah.
They know about spirit. It's a safe place.
It's a quick conversation, not much of a sell.
Emerald Spiral, a wonderful fair. Safe place for us.
But like I would do Soto flea market with my crystals, and I do not have a filter, as you can tell. I am I just blah blah, and the looks on people's faces are so drastically different on some of these shows that I'm just like, oh, kid, you got to reel it back sometimes, because I'll end up telling someone something from their higher self, and I'll get, you know, one of these looks, and I don't know how to like.
Yeah.
So
like, I didn't say that to anyone. How dare you? How dare you talk to my heart?
But a key to those connections that we have is just making ourselves available to people and not just playing it safe all the time.
Yeah, that's been really important. And
having the knowledge also that we're going to attract the right people. Like we're going to be attracted to them, and they're going to be attracted to us. It's like
It's always
gonna
like we
come
always
together.
have the best neighbors. We always have we always like even in that fair particular thing, immediately my judgment would have been, oh no, we're in this really, and I had all these judgments, but throughout that experience of the fair, we saw that the Trump people were really nice to us, and the gutter guy that was fighting with the Trump people were just having their own weird issues, but we got to see it from a different perspective, and we got a learning experience through it, right? And we have to know that every single situation that we've been put in is to our highest benefit. That's another part of the manifesting process, is being okay with the redirections a little bit, because they might be getting you there a little quicker. It might be helping you. Look at what you crystal have?
Well, it's something else.
Yeah.
The crystals attract people.
They really do.
Because they all have a frequency and they attract people. And we're rolling with caseloads of the most incredible and beautiful and powerful minerals, and people are drawn to it.
And they don't even know. So we had a show in Puyallup. One of our last like in-person shows was in Puyallup. It was called like Show in the Treats. It was a rock and mineral show, but it was in like Puyallup, like heavy area, like right behind an Amazon warehouse. So just like a really wide range of people were coming to this show, and it was really busy all day. And at one point, this woman walks up and was really kind of brash, and she interrupted me and a customer, and she says, why are people buying these? As she has both of her hands on a giant jasper sphere that Aaron has. It's just giant, and both of her hands are on this crystal, and right away I almost got like upset because of how she was like, why are people buying these? And I was like, what do you mean, why are people buying these? Because she was so like, and we ended up having a lovely conversation, because she honestly didn't know anything about crystals, but her hands were on this crystal. She was so drawn, so attracted to it, and she seriously just didn't know. And I said, look at how mad at herself. She was mad. It was the weirdest thing. And people around were looking at her too, like, whoa, you're wild. And her husband was there kind of like, whoa, bring it back, but she kept going, and she had jewelry on and stuff. But I said, look at how your hands are on that jasper. And she looked at her hands, and she put her hands up like this. Like she was like, oh, I have my hands on him. I said, your hands were drawn to it. What did you like about it? And she says, well, it's cold. And I said, well, maybe your hands are hot and it cooled you down. And I said, look at your fingers. You have jewels in your rings. And I said, all those jewels, they have little meanings, and you're attracted to them because they sparkle and they talk to you. And she, at the end of it, was so grateful that somebody told her why she was attracted to these minerals. She didn't know. Her and her husband she thought it, what did she say? She thought it was she thought it was a gym show, like a workout show. She was in like, she thought gym show. She thought it was a gym show. And that's how she got there. And it was just a crazy experience. But my inner self almost went into defense mode against her. Like, how dare you talk about my babies like that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why are people buying them? They're buying them because they love them.
Well, and that's the opportunity, though, that I've seen, is that those are those pivoting moments where it just transforms all of that negative energy that they're trying to, or like confused, tension-filled energy, whatever it is they're putting out there, and just pivot that into something transformative. Mm-hmm. That's the cool thing, is like you're seeing all the different healers and just those natural intuitive moments just like awaken people to a deeper level of like something that's really been crying out at them like their whole lives for a lot of people. Well, I just got to know one piece of advice and wisdom that you would bestow upon the listeners. You each get your own little time to run the stage. So what do you guys got? Who wants to go first?
One piece of wisdom. I'm just going to say, if I could just share one thing, it's going to be, you touched on it a little earlier, but just staying in the moment. And how important it is to actually just be present with yourself in this time, in this place. And the past is the past. The past isn't even a real thing. It's just something that our brain remembers. It's just little electrons firing. The future hasn't even, it's not real yet. The only thing that's actually real is right now. And every day we get to wake up and we have the opportunity to create our lives in any way that we want to and be whoever we want to be and live any way that we want to live. And we have that opportunity over and over and over again. But really in the morning when you wake up, bring with you your manifestation, bring with you your vision for your life and for who you are and what you bring to the table. Know who you are. Like, know who you are. Like, take some time sometime and just think about, who am I? What do I want to be about? Don't just stray around the earth just clumsily knocking into things. Like, actually have a vision and have a plan and just have some kind of information. If you don't know, try something really simple. Just ask. Ask whatever the thing is that you ask to, whether it's God, whether it's the creator, whether it's to the crystal kingdom, whatever thing it is, just ask. Ask for the information and then be open to receive it. Listen and be open to receive what you hear and know, have some information about what you want to be about. So I think it's important because we so often just let other people kind of dictate our path of life and kind of dictate not just what we think about things, but actually what topics we should be thinking of. And it's like we really are the creators. We are the masters here. Yeah. If this was easy, then all these spirits would be here doing it, but we're the ones down here doing it. Be the God that you are. Know what you're doing. Be the God that you are, and just be you. That's what I'll say.
I like that.
I like that.
I really like that. I really like that. Ooh, it's so good. It's so good. That's a hard one to follow.
Oh, you don't have to follow.
I walk with it. It goes right along the line. So a couple weeks ago, I felt like, humanity's really, there's so many different timelines that people want to open up. And I went to Spirit with my heart just wide open, asking, because like he said, you ask when you don't know, because you have such a team. Oh, me being able to see, I wish that every human on this planet could see the amount of love that they have standing behind them. It's insane. Ancestry love and their higher self, everybody standing behind them saying, you incarnated, we did not. Like he said, we are the best of the best on schoolroom earth. There's not a lot of beings that decided to sign up for this mission. It is a hard mission to being the light beings that we are. So our imperative decree that I keep hearing over and over again is the same one that Aaron said, and it is to be in this now moment, because it is so precious and it is so powerful to stand in the you that you are, because the only thing we have to do now on earth, the only thing is to hold the best and most beautiful future that we can, and that means to hold it right now in the now. So I don't play with all the like war, all the stuff that's out there in the world. I take it and I transmute it, because Shungite is my greatest teacher. This black rock from Russia transmutes everything. So I take the lesson in myself and I say, I'm going to transmute my reality and turn it into the avatar world that I want to see. I want everyone to be connected and to hear the lessons and to start walking their magical reality, because I know it's going to happen. So I hold that vision every single day, because I know how powerful I am, and it's going to start happening for everyone. They're going to see their realities change, because that's how powerful I am, and I know it. And I'm going to teach everyone to know it too.
I love it. And with that, again, I want you guys to stick around. Listeners, you're going to have to tune in for Monday for the after show. But with that, roll the outro.
Woo!
Thanks again to our sponsors for making this show possible. Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I'll teach you everything you need to know about playing jazz piano like a pro with my 12-week online video course and downloadable guidebook, Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com.
Another creative art production by Retro Earth Studio.
Yeah, so just these, cause that's how important the connections are, because that's how it was for us. We met the right people that said the right things, and all of a sudden, bam, we are online, we're opened up, and we're ready for this next step in our lives. And it was just about connecting with other people. So I'm really glad that you asked us about that. That was a really important part of our story, is the connections that we've made with other people and the gifts that they've given us, these little gifts that we've been slowly unopening over the years of experience and knowledge and messages have been a huge part of our story. So thank you for asking that.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Well, it's like a passing of the torch.
That concludes this episode of Creatives Chat. Thank you for watching. Join us every Thursday at 3:33 p.m. Pacific Daily Time as creative minds get together and chat about who knows what. View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh man, and I see that future as well, and it's refreshing